We're finally getting back to some SSP content. That was easy. Where's my easy button? Yeah, so I had 100 of those at one point, as you might remember.
Yeah. There you go.
Almost. Surprise. Cool. Hello and welcome to Gearhead 704. I'm Matt, and we are finally doing something I know you guys have wanted to see for a while. We're finally getting back to some SSP content today. So if you remember from a couple videos back, I actually had the rear end out of the SSP. I've got like a whole tutorial on how to do that, so you guys can check my page for that. But when the rear end out, the plan was to actually take that rear end and go ahead and turn it in and trade it in and do a 5-lug swap, because I had a line on a whole 5-lug rear end that I was going to put in my convertible Tar Heel Fox, but decided not to do that. Not going to do the 5-lug swap on that car, and instead I'm actually going to take the rear end that's out of the car and I'm going to rebuild it because it's already out of the car and it's a lot easier to do. So I'm going to start by the way, I'm at Fox Mustang Restoration. Peaches is right here. lots of Mustangs. So Matt is kind of telling me what to do today. He's the owner here at Fox Mustang Restoration, and so we're getting into tearing down the rear end. That's what I'm planning to do. But before we do that, I've actually got to get it on the stand. So let me go ahead and do that. You ready? Yeah, we're rolling. All right, you can see you got the rear end on some jack stands here. That was Matt helping me get the rear end up on here. And I mean, it's just gonna be so much cheaper to just go ahead and rebuild this thing, and a lot easier with it out of the car. Basically, that's the main thing, is it's already out of the car, so it's gonna be a lot easier to do this versus being in the car. So since I pulled it out anyway, that's what we're going with. All right, I'm gonna start by taking off all these bolts around here. These are 13mm bolts. And since I'm taking it off, I've got the impact. So that's gonna be really helpful. When you put it back on, you know, you don't want to use the impact when you put it back on. All right, let's tear it down. All right, now that I've got that plate off, I've got to drain all this fluid. You can see all the fluids in there. So I'm actually just going to spin it up with obviously this underneath it, right? You don't want all this going on the floor. But yeah, I'm gonna spin it up. That's what this other jack stand here is for, is I'm gonna put the, where the pinion sill is at up there, or the pinion rather, and have it sort of hold it so we can drain this out here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, guys, it looks like maybe I'm thinking that somebody's been in this rear end recently. The fluid looks pretty good. Again, this came out of a FHP, so you know, it should be in a lot worse shape. It looks like paint is in here or something. I don't know. I'm not used to seeing that orange. But I want to know what gear this is, because I think somebody may have been in here. So I want to see if it's just a stock gear ratio or not. All right, next I'm all drained now. I've got to get this retaining pin out. This is a 5/16 that I've got here, so that this bolt, got to get that bolt out. And this is really on there pretty tight. So I'm going to need to use a hammer and kind of knock it loose so we can get that retaining pin out. Nice. All right, so I got that retaining pin out, no problems. What I'm gonna do next is actually get the axles out. And so there's C-clips in here. This is the spider gear. And what I've gotta do is I've gotta push these axles in so I can see the C-clips, then I'll pull the C-clips out, then I should be able to pull the axles out, and we'll go from there. So that's what's gonna happen next. I pushed in the axle and the C-clip literally just fell to the bottom. That was easy. Where's my easy button? Hopefully you guys remember the staple thing. Let's see what this one does.
Oh, you know what? A lot of times there's O-rings in there that help that clip. This one's got the O-ring. This one's missing the O-ring. That's why that axle fell out.
Oh, okay.
That's why I clipped out. Pretty sure it felt like there's a rubber O-ring in there, so that may be one you may need to go ahead and flip over. Here, watch, if we just turn that 90 degrees. or 180 degrees.
I saw the top of it.
Now it's upside down. Now maybe we should just go ahead and
push it down. All right.
Yeah. Yep. There's an O-ring in there.
Oh, okay. That's why it was. That's why the magnet wasn't working. All right. Is it you kind of pry or just push?
Just push down. Okay. Just put a little bit on each side, side to side.
Yeah, I just did the one side. Right. Got to kind of shimmy it. Okay. Oh, felt like it moved. Yeah, there it goes. Okay.
Now you should be able to pull the axle straight out.
All right, as you can see, I did get both axles out. I just used a rag as I was pulling it out to kind of eliminate some of the mess. All right, guys, I'm about to take these 19 millimeters off so I can get the whole ring gear out, but did figure out what gears these are. Definitely got a 373 gear. It doesn't look like it's showing up on camera, but it says 373R there, so. That when you pull these off, it does matter which side you pull it off from. I just pulled this off from the left. I'm gonna label it to make sure it goes back in the right spot. Now, the way I was explaining it is not as good as Matt. He knows the technical reasons why, but just when you're tearing this down yourself, you definitely need to make sure which side this comes off of.
Don't end up face first in the lube bucket. There you go.
Almost. The shims.
Okay, these are the shims, the carrier shims, and they space out and position. Not only give you a preload on the bearing, but these shims you actually adjust to adjust the backlash, and you're meshing up the big gear with the pinion gear. This is what it looks like whenever it goes bad. You can see right here, you got a rough surface texture.
Yeah, similar to this, right? Or no?
This is smooth. I was gonna say, if you do this, you can feel every one of those grooves with your fingernail.
Oh yeah.
What that's from is that bearing did not have the correct preload, and this shim has spun in the housing.
It's not supposed to spin, it's supposed to stay in place, right?
Exactly, it's supposed to stay in place. So when it spins, this shim is not reusable.
Okay.
So we actually, which our bearing kit's always gonna come with new shims, but yeah, this, absolutely not reusable.
All right, in order to get the pinion out, I've got to take this bolt off. Of course, the pinion's gonna try to spin on me, so I've got a couple of drive shaft bolts in here, and I'm gonna hold it this way while it's trying to spin to get that off. Once that's off, I should be able to take this the companion flange off. So let me get this nut off first.
Yeah, at this point, the last thing you got to do is pull that. We're gonna pull that pinion out, and then we're gonna knock the bearing races out of there, and then this thing's completely disassembled.
The pinion should just pull right out now, right?
It's just gonna fall right out.
Oh, that was easy actually. And that orientation, super easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pinion bearing races, and the races are pressed into the housing. They're tapered, and they're what the bearing rides against. If you look down in there, here's the inner pinion bearing race.
Yeah.
Here you can see the outer pinion bearing is still in the housing, being held in by the seal, and the race is behind that. If you look in the circle, you can see a notch here, you're gonna see a notch here, and a notch here further on down. But what we're gonna do is, you gotta take this punch, and in that notch, I'm actually touching the back of the bearing race right now.
Okay.
Okay, so you gotta hit this, you gotta do this a couple of taps, get it moving, and then go back to this side again a couple taps, and you gotta go back and forth. Until it's all the way out. And you do have to hit it. Yeah. Pretty good.
Okay.
All right, so make sure you get your hand out of the way. That moved, I actually felt the race move. So that one moved. The way you feel the race move, if you hit it and the punch kind of like bounces in your hand, you didn't hit it hard enough to actually move the race. You want to hit it a little bit harder. When it moves, you won't have that vibration or that bounce in the punch you feel in your hand. You'll actually feel it move down a little bit. So if you're ready to give this a go,
Yep.
we're gonna do that, and then we'll flip it around and do the other way. The plug usually has a magnet on the end of it, and the magnet is to collect metal shavings, so it doesn't float around and eat up your gear and your bearings.
Really? There's a lot of shavings in there.
There's a lot of shavings. See all that? That is all metal shavings mixed with grease on the magnet.
Probably.
That's probably a lot from the shims. It's going to be some from the gears and some from the bearings. Because if those shims were that loose, that pinion, that carrier was never set correctly. So yeah, you were prematurely wearing that ring gear as well, and pinion.
Pass the camera over to Matt. So, right there in that groove, right? Is that where I'm wanting to hit it at? Does that look right?
Yes, a little bit more into that notch.
Let's see.
There you go, perfect right there.
All right, we got it out. I actually ended up having to use this instead, and it was just easier for me to do it rather than film it. Now the rear end's turned over, and we got the same thing on the other side we've got to knock out. Now we got to do the inner pinion bearing race on this side.
There you go. Woo. Your pinion races.
That was still easier than the PCV valve. All right, so they're all out.
That's it.
Cool. Okay guys, once again, I'm hot and sweaty, but I am working on my own stuff, which is cool. Obviously Matt is really helpful, but the rear end is pretty much torn down. The only thing else that we would have to do, normally you would typically do, is get the axle bearings and axle seals out. Running out of time today, so not gonna do that today, but I will do that probably in another video, or maybe I'll just do it and do it off camera and let you guys know how it went. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, that's how you tear it down, and I want to hurry up and get going on this, because the idea is that once that rear end is completely put back together, I'm going to put it on the FHP, the SSP, get that over here, and we got a lot of projects coming for that. So anyway, if you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button. I do upload twice a week, so if you're not subscribed already, please do so, because I upload every Sunday and Wednesday. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we'll see you next time on Gearhead 704. I've got a surprise for a buddy of mine. He's been on the channel before, and as you guys know, I've got some merch recently. I'm wearing it, right? And yeah, I want to give him the shirt, and I have something else in surprise for him as well. So let's go sneak up on Mr. Automotive. Oh yeah, I told everybody I got a surprise for you today. Let's see. Well, actually, this is more for Seth. See, I told you. I told you.
The SVO's not even here.
It's not? Oh man.
We broke the clutch cable again.
Okay. Yeah, so I had 100 of those at one point, as you might remember.
Yeah, that's right.
And I sent them all back, unfortunately. So that one I legit bought.
You legit bought.
Yeah, but that was for his birthday, so I said I'd get him one. So
cool. Like
see, now he'll match mine.
Yeah,
See?
yeah, look at that cute
It's
little thing.
so much better, dude.
Look at that. Yeah, cute little antenna.
Yeah. I told everybody you hadn't been on the channel for a while, so I had to. I'm gonna throw this in somewhere.
Life's been busy.
I know.
Real busy.
The car keeps breaking down. Oh, and I got one more thing for you. You might see the shirt I'm wearing. So.
Look at that, dude. You're like official now.
I got one for you. You don't have to wear it, but you've got one. So.
You're now official.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I think he looks good.
Dude, that thing is huge.
Yeah.
That's a real
2X. They kind of shrink. Look at the back. Have you seen the back already?
It's not just a Mustang. It's a Fox.
See, I figured you like that part.
That is cool. No, man, you did a great job.
So Tiffany actually designed it. So
Oh, very good.
yeah, I came up with a slogan, but yeah.
Awesome.
And she got the wheels to match, because it had the Cobra R wheels at first. And I said, no, I'm about to change the wheels. You got to change this. So,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
You got
So,
turbine.
yeah. So here we go. Surprise.
Cool, man.